Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our Estrella virtual visit series. My name is Allison Campbell with Estrella Consulting, and I am so excited to welcome Maddie Lehman from Butler University in Indianapolis, Indiana. Our virtual visit series is designed to introduce all of you to a variety of colleges and allow you to get to know the institutions and their staff in a more personal way. So thank you so much, Maddie, for joining us.
Absolutely. I'm so excited for this.
Well, we are so glad that you're here, and we would love for you to just take a few moments, tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you have been at Butler.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you said, my name is Maddie Lehman. I'm senior admission counselor at Butler University. I had I think it's a typical pipeline to admission counseling. I was a tour guide at college. I attended Indiana Wesleyan University and was a tour guide there. And then went straight into being an admission counselor. I said it was my dream job right out of school. And then I was there for a year before transitioning down to Indianapolis, which led me to Butler University about a little over 2 years ago. And so, I wanted to work at Butler because it was a small, tight-knit community like I was used to, and I have just really loved my experience here.
That's great. So for those people that are watching this that might not know that much about Butler, can you tell us a little bit about your institution? Just again, where you're located, the size of your campus, the enrollment numbers, and just like
Sure.
anything else that you think would be encompassing
Yeah.
of Butler.
Absolutely. So, Butler is definitely on the smaller end of a mid-sized university. So we've got about 4,500 students, undergrad students on our campus. We are tucked away in a historic residential neighborhood in Indianapolis, Butler Tarkington. When you're on campus, I always tell people you can't really tell that you're 5 miles north of downtown Indianapolis, but we are. So we're 5 miles north of downtown Indianapolis, but we've definitely got our own space on campus. And Butler has a lot of really cool things going on in terms of academics, of course. I'm sure we'll get to that later. But then it also has a really strong emphasis on athletics. We have Division I athletics as well as arts, and a lot of really amazing arts programs and performance venues. So I think that's one of my favorite things about Butler. Although we are smaller, we do have a lot of those big school opportunities.
Definitely. I was telling Maddie earlier, I just had such a great visit in June. It was such a beautiful campus. I loved the layout. I do like that it wasn't a residential area because I felt like it was like very safe and very contained. I also snuck into Hinkle Fieldhouse because you mentioned D1 athletics and I played college basketball. So I was like, this is a pilgrimage. Like we got to get there.
Yes.
And then it was maybe like, again, this was crazy because I stayed the night in Indy at the airport and just kind of like drove through the city. I got there at like 7:45 in the morning. I left super early and the men's basketball team was practicing and I just kind of like walked behind someone. They opened the door for me. Probably not a great safety protocol on my end, but it was just men's basketball and I just got to sit there and like watch practice, which was fantastic. Just such a beautiful facility. I feel like again, if you don't know Hinkle Fieldhouse, that's where they filmed Hoosiers, all my basketball people. Um, how they really did a nice job of like keeping the charm and like the old school style, but then like obviously like the updates of a modern facility. I thought that was really cool. So tell me a little bit about the type of student that would come to Butler.
Yeah, I think as an admission counselor, I'm always looking when I talk to students for students that I think would thrive here, of course. And so I'll tell you a little bit about what our current Butler Bulldogs tend to be like, and hopefully that'll give you a picture of what kind of students that I'm looking for as an admission counselor. So when I got to Butler, this is probably one of the first things I noticed. Butler students tend to be very ambitious. Some take on multiple internships during their time here, like 3 or 4. Most of them are involved in lots of different things. Even though we are small, we have well over 200 student organizations on our campus, and a lot of students are involved in multiple. And so campus involvements, taking advantage of our study abroad programs, volunteer opportunities in the city of Indianapolis, all because they know that these things will enhance their college experience. And so that's probably one of the first things I'll say is our Butler students tend to be very ambitious. I talked a lot about outside the classroom, but also inside the classroom as well. Um, Butler students tend to be very collaborative people too. And so working with one another. We have we have a very strong emphasis on experiential learning. And so whether that looks like collaborating with others in the classroom, in your major, or outside of campus, Butler students tend to be pretty collaborative. And then I would also say I have met some of the most sincere people here. And so just across campus, not just with our students, but staff and faculty wise too, we just tend to, I know it's sounds really cliche to say that, but we tend to have really sincere people that are attracted to Butler as well. And so I could go on and on, but I think those are probably the big things, being ambitious and collaborative and sincere. If you're those things, I think you'll thrive here at Butler.
That's a really good point. I actually have a student that I'm working with who did a summer program out in LA, and he is from Ohio. He's a Midwest student, and he said that one of the hardest things for him to be out in LA for 4 weeks was the lack of Midwest like simple trees and
Hmm.
like personality. He's like, that was something that he never had even considered, was the just like, again, this is no shade on like people on the West Coast, but that just sense of like friendliness, like people in the Midwest, they speak to each other, they're holding doors for each other, there's congeniality, there's like general interest in what you're doing and having a conversation, where like he's like, people in LA did not give a crap about me, about like helping me, if
Oh
in
my,
the Midwest, like if you're like spinning around in circles, someone's like, do you need help? Can I, where are you looking to go? Things like that.
yes.
Like, I never even thought of that. And I'm like, that's something very significant when you're looking at colleges. Like, are these the type of people that I want to be around for the next 4 years? Am I going to fit in here? Are these going to be people that'll help me grow, or are they going to be out for their own interests? So kind of going back to like you said about collaborative as well, like I think
Mhm.
that's kind of a overall like an overriding like Midwest thing as well, like
Yeah.
wanting other people to succeed alongside of you. So I appreciate that you said that, because I think that's really,
Yeah.
really a key to finding the right fit. And you said you've been at Butler for about 2 years. So are there any trends that you're seeing within admission at your university? Like, are you seeing more out of state applicants? Is there a particular major that's taking off? Maybe selectivity? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, it's there are some things that I've noticed that have changed over the years. We've added a number of new programs over the past couple of years. I mean, I think every year that we've been here, we've added two or three new programs to our catalog. So, of course, that's going to influence and change what our applicants are interested in as we open more pathways. I have noticed there has been a little bit of a shift. We used to have actually a higher percentage of students coming from out of state to Butler from than in state, but now we're actually at an even 50-50 for students. 50% of our students come from out of state, 50% in state. And so a little bit of an increase in in-state applicants, but we still have that 50-50 number. So and we actually have students now from 49 different states and 37 different countries too. So we've made it to maybe someday we'll make it to that perfect 50 states, having students come from all 50 states here. But
You know
we're
what
currently
state
at
you're missing?
49. We are trying to figure this out right now. We're currently in the
I was
process.
on one of these last, we've done like about 35 of these virtual visits. And I remember last year it was North Dakota, whatever university it was North Dakota. And they're like, if you're watching this and you're from North Dakota, shoot me an email. So
We That's so funny that you say that because we're pretty sure it's North Dakota, but the jury's still out on that one. We're not exactly sure.
yeah, so
But yeah.
funny.
Yeah,
That's
so I mean, not any like super overarching trends, but just as far as like where our students are coming from, that's changed a little bit. And that's what I've noticed. But yeah, I would say those are some of the changes that I've seen, trends that I've been seeing.
okay. Well, it's good to know as well. I think that's something when, if, we work with students all over the US. So, a lot of our students are from Ohio, but I think it's very interesting to know, like, if you are going to take the leap and go out of state, or if you're going to go, farther from home, are those students going to be going home every weekend? Is it a regional campus? Is it a more commuter style campus? But the fact that you've got 50% of your students from out of state, it means that not everybody's leaving all the time. So I'm
Yeah.
sure you'll speak a little bit more to res life and like kind of the activities on campus, but that's a really good sign.
Yeah.
So as you are recruiting students, is something that you're considering demonstrated interest, meaning a student, is doing a visit to Butler's campus, they're engaging with you at a college fair, or they're opening emails, things like that. Like, is that an important piece of the admissions funnel?
It is definitely something that we consider. Butler approaches every application through the holistic review lens. So taking a look at all the different things that a student provides to us, contextual information, I always tell students any like context that you can provide, we love to see that in an application. So demonstrating interest is definitely a part of that.
Mhm.
Like you just mentioned, most often I see demonstrated interest come from visits to our campus, or stopping by to see us at a college fair or a visit at their high school. But I can also view a lot of times in our system when we've exchanged, a student and I have exchanged texts or emails and things like that. And that's also part of that demonstrated interest piece. I always encourage students to get to know me. I am a real person that is striving to be your friend and guide throughout this process. And so, even engaging with me in that way, we consider as demonstrated interest when we're reviewing an application.
Yeah, definitely. And even if a college says that they don't value demonstrated interest, I mean, that's fine. And I understand that if you're getting 80,000 applications, you can't take every
Yeah.
piece into effect. But I think the opportunity to make genuine connections with people like you, it's never going to hurt unless you're just someone who's pestering them and like emailing them every day about the status of their application, or, all that stuff. But I mean, I think genuinely creating that connection and showing that like I would be a great fit here, and I would love for you to get to know me in a, very normal and human way, is a good option. So I'm glad that you've mentioned that.
Yeah, and that's why I started doing this right out of college, and that's why I'm still doing it now, is because of that connection piece. So at a smaller school like Butler, that's something that we really value, and that starts with the admission process. So
Definitely. I loved working on the admission side. I just felt like it was always like meeting families and hearing their stories and like kind of conceptualizing, oh, this student's going to be a really good fit at our school,
mhm.
and this is why. So I'm glad that you said that. Okay, so we talked a little bit about majors. If you're able to highlight just a few of maybe your top majors, and then can you give me a major that you feel is flying under the radar, like something that is maybe really unique to Butler, or again, maybe an uptick in applications because it's becoming very popular just in like in general in the working community. Let us know
Yeah.
about that.
I definitely think that we have a lot of strengths and good infrastructure in terms of like the health sciences. So we do have a health sciences major, but then also biology is our largest major, chemistry, things like that. So the sciences, we do have a 6-year PharmD program as well. So students will be in pre-pharmacy for 2 years and then progress into a 4-year professional program at Butler. So the sciences, health sciences, we do have a brand new nursing program launching in just a couple of weeks when classes start. And
All right.
so that's something that is new to us, nursing, but we've had a really strong foundation in the sciences for a long time. And then the other things that I would say attract a lot of attention are really popular majors in general right now, but business, our Lacey School of Business is nationally ranked for student experience. I think that tends to be something that a lot of students are interested in, not just in general, but specifically at Butler. We
Yeah.
also do have a top ranked dance performance program as well. So our ballet program, I believe last I checked, was in the top 3 in the nation. And so that attracts a lot of students too, and that wouldn't maybe previously been interested in Butler, but are interested in doing dance performance ballet. So those tend to be some of our top interest majors, and the students participate in here study. Um, a major, I don't know if it's necessarily flying under the radar since this major does attract interest from students from all over the country, but it does kind of fall outside of the realm of those majors that I just mentioned that I think Butler is well known for. So I just want to take the moment to highlight our sports media program at our College of Communication. I don't know if I'm supposed to have a favorite major, but this is definitely one of mine. I think this is the cool opportunities that students have in the sports media major are unmatched. Students that are majoring in sports media, not only do they get access and to be able to get those experiential learning opportunities through our D1 athletics, whether that be getting in front of the camera, doing script writing, news writing. But Indianapolis is a really good sports city, in my opinion. And I think in a lot of people's opinion, we were just talking about the Pacers before we started recording. And so we have a great relationship with a lot of the sports organizations here in Indy. We just launched the Butler Institute for Sports and Entertainment, which is a collaboration between the sports organizations in Indianapolis and Butler's College of Communication and Lacey School of Business. And so if those sports organizations are looking for either volunteers or interns, it's just going to be a really clear pathway to kind of build on what's already existed in terms of those relationships. And so lots of really good experiences when we've hosted a lot of sports events, I guess, that have attracted a lot of attention the last couple of years. February 2024 was the NBA All-Star Game. A couple of our students got to kind of participate in helping out with certain organizations with that. I believe even one student got to work with ESPN with their broadcast. It's either ESPN or TNT, forgive me for not remembering. But in helping them with the show notes and broadcasting cues and things like that. So I think that's a major that a lot of people may have interest in, but may not necessarily associate with Butler. And I think it's a really, really cool program.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, I think the beauty of having like a small to mid-sized student body right outside of a like major metropolitan area and like having the access to those large sports organizations and having Division I athletics on your own campus like gives those students a lot of opportunity. If you were out in the middle of rural nowhere and you were doing sports media, where do you go? What do you do? Also, again, because I'm like a women's basketball fanatic, you know, you have the Indiana Fever, you know, you have one of the
Yes,
hottest sports
of
tickets
course.
in the nation right now with Caitlin Clark. So again, like those, that's a really good selling point for your students to say you will get opportunities. And you mentioned earlier on, like the type of student that comes to Butler are the ones that are doing the internships and taking multiple opportunities. So definitely a good selling point. If you're someone who's ambitious, if you're looking to get in front of a camera, looking to make professional connections, especially with major sports teams or major media markets, like this is a great opportunity, but still being in a like nice, safe, small environment at Butler.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
at
I
a,
can't
you
believe I
know,
forgot to
Heineken or
mention
something.
Caitlin Clark and the Fever. Oh my gosh. I
Yeah,
can't believe I forgot to mention that. But yes,
no, that's
lots of good
wonderful.
things happening here in Indy.
Very cool. Okay, let's talk a little bit about what's going on campus because we kind of mentioned that. Do you guys have like a like Greek life, sorority life, fraternities,
Yeah.
clubs?
Yeah.
Okay,
So we do have Greek life. And there are 15 fraternities and sororities in total on our campus. And something that is of note, I guess, about Greek life here is that we actually have delayed recruitment. And so students won't go through, if they're interested, they won't go through the recruitment process until January
okay,
when they get here. So that's something that I know a few other schools do, but is something a little bit unique about Butler's Greek life. And because of that, our numbers are a little bit skewed on the amount of students that actually participate in Greek life, but it's around 35 to 40% of our students that are involved in Greek life. So they always say it's prominent, not dominant.
gotcha. That's a good way to put it. What about study abroad? Is that something that's pretty prominent on campus?
Yes. Yes. So about 40% of our students study abroad as of right now. Butler has a really long history of investing in study abroad opportunities. We have well over 300 different programs in 50 different countries. And so that can look like a short-term Butler-led trip abroad. That can look like obviously your more traditional semester abroad or summer abroad. And yeah, there's a lot of different opportunities related to that. And I'm starting to see an increased interest, if you're talking about trends, and increased interest in students that are engaging with those opportunities.
Okay, very cool. Okay, let's talk a little bit about student support. Do you have an honors program? And if so, what is the kind of the process for someone who would be interested in that?
Yeah, so we do have an honors program. Honors students get access to honor specific courses during their time here. They participate in faculty-led research, and then eventually they'll prepare and present on an honors thesis on a topic that's kind of like their passion project. And so that's going to vary from student to student. Other perks related to the honors program include we have an honors residential community in one of our residence halls. So it's a floor specifically dedicated for honor students. And then there's also a faculty in residence that also lives in that residence hall space as well to support those honors students.
Okay.
Also, some honors specific study abroad opportunities as well here at Butler.
Is
Uh,
there any monetary benefit to joining honors? Do you have like a scholarship opportunity, or is it more just like the elevated class experience, extra opportunities, things like that?
Yeah, it's definitely more focused in on the elevated experience and those opportunities. There's no monetary scholarship, or there's not a scholarship associated with the honors program here.
Okay. So on the flip side, if you have a student that might be a little bit below your like your middle 50%, or a student that comes in identifying learning difference, neurodiversity, needing some extra support, could you talk a little bit about what supports might be available for them?
Yeah, if a student needs any additional support, if they have specific accommodations in high school, or they just need some to talk to somebody about specific accommodations like extra time on tests or a quiet space to take tests, things like that, we'd love to get you connected with our Student Disability Services office. They are an amazing team that provides individualized support for students, and so you can even speak with them. I usually recommend students in their senior year, if they're looking at Butler, to schedule a meeting with them and the prospective stage just to make sure, because that's for a lot of students a super important part of their college decision. And so we want to make sure we're providing them with all the information and resources before they make that decision. So admission counselors like me can help get you connected with them. They do provide that individualized support. For your typical day to day, we do have the speakers lab and writer's studio where students can receive feedback from peers, trained peers on any like papers or public speaking speeches, things like that, that they may need some additional support and help with, just to make those things at the best they can possibly be and ensure that student is succeeding with those projects.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's a good point. I think make for the students that like we have the luxury of really getting to know our students that we work with at Estrella. We get like this one-on-one time with them and get to know their stories and talk with moms and dads. And if we do have a student that's struggling, or that we know this will be a challenging transition, finding out more while you're doing the visit process, is this going to be the right fit? Because they might love a school, be academically admissible, and then get to that school and be like, okay, this isn't quite the support that I need to be successful here. That's bad. So doing some of those, like that front end preliminary research, I think would be really helpful. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I think it's either they figure it out once they've been accepted, or they figure it out after their first C, D, or F. And I get it. I know that there's a lot of, potential stigma around that or embarrassment, but I think that's something that we do at Estrella, is trying to like let our students know, like, hey, like we want the best for you. Like, we don't want you to fail. We want you to get ahead of this and like normalize it. And it's pretty normal. So
Yeah. And one other thing I'll say too, I know we're kind of coming up on time here, is just the access that students have to their professors here is unparalleled. I mean, it's just one of the perks in my eyes of a smaller institution. I had that when I was in college. I went to college during the onset of the pandemic, and I needed a lot of additional support that I didn't foresee needing. So having access to my professors and having them know me, much like you know your students, was super beneficial for me, because things do happen, life does happen, and struggling, something that impacts academics. And so students definitely have great access to really caring faculty here at Butler as well.
good. That's great. You're right. We are wrapping up on time. I do have one more question I definitely want to ask, and I have like a bonus question. So my colleague Jamie wrote this awesome blog post, and it's all about hidden scholarships. So that meaning like when you're maybe applying to Butler and you're just doing the like regular application process, you might be considered for XYZ scholarship. But are there any scholarships that would maybe require an additional application or something that's like major specific? Is there anything that you recommend from that standpoint?
Yeah, no necessarily hidden scholarships, but we do have two scholarship programs that students are invited to apply to separately once they submit their application to Butler. So we have the Wharton Finney Scholars Program. It's a great fit for students that demonstrate a commitment to seeking out and valuing diverse perspectives, and it's an actual program that you participate in here. And then the Compass Center Scholarship, which is all about bringing together and hearing perspectives of people of different faith backgrounds, secular backgrounds, things like that. And so there's a lot more details on our website, and love to direct students there about these scholarships. Students will also receive more information if they apply to Butler, but it is a separate application and an interview process. But those awards can range anywhere from $4,000 to full tuition,
All right.
depending on the scholarship.
All right. I'll have to ask Jamie if she has that listed on our document because it's been such a valuable resource. And like people are always shocked, like, ooh, I didn't know about that, or at least what
Mhm.
it entails. Like, not everybody's eligible, but if they know, like, oh, if I, have a, you know, faith belief that would prescribe that would put me in the, as a competitive applicant for the scholarship, I'm happy to know that. So I will definitely add that. So as we wrap up, Maddie, can you give me potentially one or the other, the most entertaining or best speaker or yeah, entertainer, I guess, that has been on your campus? And if not that, maybe your most prominent or famous alumni.
Okay. I think I'm going to stray from the question a little bit, and use this as an opportunity to talk about our live mascot. Oh, you can't see him. Blue. So I don't know. I'm not answering your question. But Blue, Butler Blue the Fourth is his legal given name. He is our live mascot. We've had this live mascot program since I think the year 2000. And so very long time. He's a very busy bulldog. He delivers admission decisions to certain students. He attends all of our athletic events. He often just waddles around and cheers everybody up, but mostly begs for treats in our marketing office, which is just a few doors down from me. And so I don't know I just think he's an exciting creature on our campus, and definitely something that makes the Butler experience what it is. There is a Netflix documentary episode about Blue on the show called Dog. So shameless plug, if anyone wants to learn more about Blue, season 2, episode, I think it's episode 2, is called Much Ado About Blue. And it's
Oh,
about when Blue became my live mascot. So again, I don't think I'm answering your question, but I
I think
can't
that was
talk
great.
about Butler wwithout talking about Blue.
That's fantastic. I have a dog who's sitting under my feet right now, and he actually, you talk about Blue, and then he got up and walked away. So he's,
Oh, I
but
apologize.
no, I think that was a great answer, and I really appreciate your time. Hopefully, you will be hearing from Estrella students and maybe some other people that will be watching this in regards to learning more about Butler. So,
I hope
thank you so
so.
much, Maddie. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Allison.
Take care.
Take care. Bye bye.